when we talk about raising revenue very quickly, there's really three levers that we can pull to kind of really increase, really accelerate the amount of money you're bringing into your business month after month. So these are things that really make the difference between not being able to quite make that six-figure mark. Maybe you're making $30, $40, $50, $70,000 per month. These are the things that when you pull them, they shift you so that you get up to $10,000, $20,000 per month. That's the six-figure, multi-six-figure level. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm really excited to do it. These three things are real game changers, and I'm really excited to do it. And I see we've got Tina watching, we've got Carlin watching. Good to see you guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Give me some likes and some hearts. Would love to see you interact with that. Show me some love. That'd be awesome. I see Autumn's jumping on. Hi, Autumn. Good to see you. Okay, so all three of these things I've got illustrated in a case study. So as we're going through these, if you want to see an actual example of how this works, leave a comment and just say case study, and I will shoot that over to you so that, and no opt-in or anything like that. I'll just do it through Messenger, just send it over to you. But there's a case study I have about a client that put these things in practice, and she got, over $12,000 in sales in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, it was really, really quick. So if you want to see how this works in real life application, put that in the comments. Okay, so the first lever that you can pull is actually in your packages and in your pricing. And this is one of the big ones. This is one of the ones that takes kind of a fundamental shift in your thinking, but once you do it, it'll just transform your business. So, I want to put an example. It was a client of mine, and when we first started working together, she's a copywriter, so she makes content. In particular, she makes content for blogs. And she was getting her clients, she was charging by the word, which is pretty common in the content arena. If you're not in that market, that's something that people do. But this is what was really interesting, is when we started working together, she was super frustrated, and it didn't make sense for her at her prices to actually bring on more clients. Every time she brought on a new client, she was actually losing money. Like, she didn't have enough time and enough resources because of her price point. She could bring on more clients, but she'd actually be losing money, right? So what we did is we took her package, or took her service and packaged it. And here's the key when you package your services. You've got to connect it to getting some sort of result, right? So instead of selling blog content, she started selling, I help you get, in her case, it was, I help you build an email list, right? But you might do something like, I help you get clients, or I help you get XYZ, engaged. I help you get in the news, I help you get engaged audiences, whatever it is, right? But you got to connect it to that result. And suddenly that raises the perceived value of your services. So in her case, we did that, and she was able to start charging $5,000 for the very same package that she was like barely charging a couple hundred for, right? So you're going from a couple hundred to a couple thousand because the perceived value's gone up, which means you're working with much better clients. Now suddenly, she's able to build a six-figure business. And since then, she's actually raised her rates again. She's probably doubled or tripled her rates, and she's working towards a $20,000 per month business. So that is one of the fast levers to pull. Look at your pricing, look at your packaging. But it's also one of the hardest to do because it's a fundamental shift in how most people operate, right? So most of the people are thinking hourly rates. Nuh-uh. Hourly rates are for employees. You're not an employee, you're a business owner. And business owners, they charge for results and around packages and programs, right? Okay, so that is lever number one. I've got a note here, so I want to say it before we move on. What you really want to do here is go deep, right? Like most people, they want to do their, especially when you get to about $80,000 in revenue, you start thinking, how do I scale this business, right? And so lots of people start thinking courses or low-level offers, and they try to go wide. And that's a mistake, because going wide is a really good move when you've got a proven product and you've got revenue to back up that run, right? So what you want to do instead is go deep so that you can actually charge more and get better results for your clients. So we got a question. Carlin says, what's your thoughts about putting pricing on websites? Good question, and I would tell you that really relates to where you're at in your business. So if you're at a point where you're really bringing in consistent leads, like maybe 10, 20 leads a month, and you're consistently bringing in clients at that rate too, 1 to 5 to 10 clients per month. And again, we're talking like you're charging at least $3,000 for your services. If you're charging less than that, you're trying to go for that reach, then it's a different story. But if you're at a point where you're really bringing people in, then you want to start screening them, pre-qualifying them. And that's when you're going to want to put pricing on the website, right? Because now you're going to get people who visit the website and say, when people look at your prices on your website or wherever, it's never right. It's never good, right? Like they're always, it's too high, it's too low, it's never perfect. So you want to start putting it on your website when you're ready for people to look at that and say, oh no, that's out of my range, and screen themselves out. If you're like in a spot though where you're not quite getting consistent leads yet, or you're not quite bringing on the clients you want, or if you're testing out price points, because here's a little secret that everyone knows, is that pricing is subjective. So you can actually test out your prices, and you can't be discriminatory, right? But you can have, say, like 2 slots at X price, and then 3 slots at a higher price, and then 5 slots at a bigger price, as you try to scale yourself up in your business, right? As you try to get more comfortable with charging more money. So if you're in that stage, I say don't put it on your website, right? Because you want to get on the phone with as many people as you can. And you want to test out that product, you want to test out that price. But if you're at the stage where things are really consistent for you, you've got a proven product, you've got a proven price point, start putting it out there. Let people pre-qualify themselves so that your phone calls are a lot more directed and you're closing instead of trying to sell on the phone, right? It's just a minor shift, right? Are you selling or are you closing? And you can do a lot of your pre-qualification, a lot of your selling in your marketing, like in your interactions with people before they get on the phone, but it's an advanced move. Right? You want to make sure that you get some progress in there. And this actually is a great segue, because your job, before you reach $250,000 in your business, so if you're not at that level, your job before you get there is to prove out your systems and your products and your price point. That's your job. So 50 to 80% of your time should be spent in marketing and sales, really figuring out what works, really figuring out what drives people to purchase your products, really figuring out how to position your products and your services. And as you get closer to that $250,000 mark, you're going to have just proven products, pricing, services, and that's where that end run for width really comes into effect, right? Now you're in a position where it makes sense to go wide with your marketing rather than deep, right? But until you get to that point, keep it focused, keep it tight. Okay, so lever number 2 is in your marketing, right? And there was a study done, and I can't remember, I'm pretty sure it was Linked Selling. If you've ever heard that company, Josh Turner, he's a local St. Louis guy. Here I'm in St. Louis too. And he released a study, and I want to say it was like a year ago, so I don't even know if it's 100% accurate anymore. But the principle is what matters, not the actual numbers. The principle is that he did a study and said like 90 or 80% of small business owners don't have consistent leads. And that is a really big issue, right? And so odds are, if you're watching this, you don't have consistent leads yet. So lever number 1 is to raise your rates or package your services. Lever number 2 is to look at your marketing and really amp it up, right? And I was in a Facebook conversation yesterday, and I can't remember what friend was posting this, but she was talking about her, she was talking to some clients, and they're all she builds websites, and they're all concerned about, man, I want more traffic to my website. And she basically was like, traffic doesn't matter if no one's converting. If no one's purchasing or no one's signing up for your email list, it doesn't matter. So you should be more concerned with how does this website convert than you are with driving traffic to it. And I think that this is a really good lesson for marketing in general. That website is a good example, but this is your marketing in general. Like, don't be so concerned with trying to go wide with your marketing. Like, you don't have to be on every social media platform. You don't have to be, trying to reach 1 million people. You've got to reach like 20 of the right people. And if you've got the right pricing, those 20 people are going to be a big part of your business for the year, right? So if you really want to amp up your marketing, what you need to do is not try to invest a ton of money or go wide with it. What you really want to do is start tapping people on the shoulder and getting really consistent at finding the right people and getting them on board. And I call this, my term for it is SMEDO. I love it. I love saying that word, SMEDO, but it stands for Social Media Direct Outreach. So think SMEDO, Social Media Direct Outreach, SMEDO. So get good at your SMEDOs. Get in there, get in your social media inbox, get talking to your friends, and find those people who are ready for your services and start tapping them on the shoulder and getting them to purchase, right? Get really consistent in your marketing. Make that number of leads. How many leads are you getting per month? Are you getting 1 per month, 2 per month? Because you should be getting like 10 per week. How can you get 10 new leads this week? That's what we want to focus on, right? Really amping up that number. And what would you do if you had 40 more leads in your world each month? How would that affect your business? It would be crazy, right? Like, you would be able to land so many more clients. It would be so much better. So lever number 2 is focus on your marketing. Okay, so I'm going to move on to lever number 3. If you're watching, I see we've got a ton of people watching. Hit that like button, hit that heart button. Let me know you're watching. And if you missed it, yeah, Carla says if she had 40 more leads, she'd have to hire someone. That's the point, right? You'd have to hire somebody. So how do you get to that point, right? Don't focus so much on like the width of your marketing. Focus on getting really consistent with what you got going on. If you missed it, comment case study, because I've got a real world application of this, and I will make sure I send that over to you in the Facebook Messenger. Okay, so the last lever to pull is your sales process, okay? So there's a couple things that kind of go, when we start talking about sales process, there's a couple of ways my mind goes. So the first is that most people actually don't have a set way of doing their sales. This is a problem, right? You need to be able to take control when you get in a sales conversation with somebody. If you don't take control, you're going to be losing the situation, right? So you need to actually have a set process of doing this. And then number 2 is that before you even get on the sales phone call with them, or in the consultation or whatever you want to call it, you want to actually qualify the people you're talking to. You don't have to get on the phone with everybody, right? Like, if you want to get on the phone with a lot of people, that's great. But when it's time for your business, you want to make sure that you're getting on the phone with people who are like a perfect 10 for you. People who mark all the boxes, people who line up with what you're doing. And when you get on that phone call, you've got a pretty good chance of getting a client, right? Because that's where the magic happens. When you make the right offer to the right person, that is service. That is valuable, right? And that's how you make sales. When you make the wrong offer to the wrong person, then that's salesy, that's pushy, that feels awkward and slimy, right? But how many times have you had an experience where, like, you come into somebody's world and you're like, hey, this is what I do, and they're like, oh my goodness, how did you know that's what I was looking for? How did you know that I needed that? That's the experience we're looking for. And while that's happened organically for you in the past, you can actually kind of manufacture that if you're really deliberate in your marketing. So we're connecting our sales and our marketing here. If you're really deliberate about who you're reaching out to, who you're talking to, and you're going deep instead of wide, then you're going to be able to qualify your leads better, and then you're going to get on the phone, and it's not going to be about convincing them about your service. It's going to be about seeing if it's a good fit and then closing the deal and getting started, right? And then the third thing with sales is that you got to ask for what you want. You got to actually just be bold. You got to drink your own Kool-Aid. I want to get a cup, and I want it to say Craig's Kool-Aid so that I'm always drinking my own Kool-Aid. That's life goal. I got to write that down somewhere. I'm sure I can order that somewhere. But you got to drink some of your own Kool-Aid. And you got to really step into the fact that you're going to help them, and ask for what you want. I had an experience about a year and a half ago. You know, I was looking for a gym. I was looking for, so this isn't like, it's sales, but it's not B2B sales, right? But I was looking for a gym, and I knew a guy from high school that had done really well building a gym here locally. And so I was like, I want to support him. I'm going to go check it out. So I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, come check it out. I'll give you like a week pass or something. So I went to his gym for a week, and I was really into it, really enjoyed it. And they're like, okay, we've got this free consultation for you. We're going to like talk about your goals and give you a plan. And we all know what that means, right? They're gonna sell to me, right? But here's the thing, I wanted to be sold to. I was out of shape, I was unhappy. I wanted them to sell to me. And I got in this meeting with them, and it was seriously 45 minutes of this trainer talking to me about his favorite exercises. We didn't talk about me, we didn't talk about what I wanted to do, we just talked about his favorite exercises and why they were cool. Okay. And then abruptly at the end of the conversation, he stood up and said, well, okay, we'll see you next time. Let us know if you want to join, and let me go on my way. I didn't even have a chance. He kind of ushered me out. I was money burning in my hands. I wanted to purchase. I was just waiting for the opportunity, and they ushered me out, and I didn't get to purchase. So I went home scratching my head, and here's a true story. In my inbox of my LinkedIn when I got home was a message from a guy in New York. He was a trainer. He said, "Hey Craig, I work with, CEOs of companies who want to get in shape. It's remote. It's a remote coaching program, but I get great results. Do you want to learn more?" I signed up for this guy's program the next day, and it was probably triple the amount that I would have spent at my friend's gym local. And why? Because he asked for the sale and he had something that I wanted, right? So first, two takeaways there. One is ask for it, but two, that guy made a sale in like a day because he made the right offer to the right person, and he did it in his LinkedIn inbox. Smeeto. Social media direct outreach, right? It works. It can work quickly. You just have to be looking for the right people. But okay, so here's the lever part though, right? If you can get better at your sales, and let's say that you're getting like 10 leads per month and you're closing 5 of them per month. Well, what happens if you get just a little bit better at your sales, you master the process, you get a little bit better at asking for what you want, and you make 2 or 3 more sales per month? You've changed nothing else about your process. You haven't changed your pricing, you haven't changed your marketing, you haven't changed your service, but you're closing 2 more sales. That's like a 20% raise for you, right? So that's one of those levers where it's not as obvious, like, double your rates. Of course, you're going to make double the money, but like getting better at sales is an investment that pays off very, very quickly. Okay, guys, that's what I got for today. Thanks so much for being here. Show me some love. If you got any questions, put them in there. If you've got comments, let me know, what's your biggest takeaway? What's the thing that you're going to take from this conversation, you're going to go apply, and I want to know what that is, and I'll follow up with you on it. And again, if you want the case study, if you're watching the replay or something and you want the case study, write just the words case study in the comments, and I'll shoot it over to you. I'll just use Facebook Messenger, so there's no like opt-in or anything like that. Like, I'm not trying to get your email address or anything like that. Just to, it's a real life example of how this stuff works. So I'll shoot that over to you. You're welcome. Good to see you guys. Thanks for participating. Tina, man, big comment. I want to read it, but if I sit here and read it, then it's going to be a ton of dead silence here. Yeah, she said the same thing happened to her. She had a web designer that she wanted to work with, and he dragged his feet for too long and lost 10K of business. Yep. 100%. It happens all the time. It happens more than you think. Where it's like, if you don't ask for what you want, you lose the sale. Yep. Okay. Talk to you later, guys. Go take some fast focus, imperfect action. Really good to see you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.